So here's something I wanted to share with you. I'm Tom Scioli, author of I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. And on Free Comic Book Day, there will be a free comic book edition of I Am Stan, a comic book sized excerpt of the book covering some of the Marvel years, some of the stuff I think people will be especially interested in. And that'll be available on Saturday, May 6th for Free Comic Book Day. Ask your retailer to set aside a copy for you. You can pre-order the full book of I Am Stan by following the link in the show notes below. That'll take you to a pre-order page. So with the new Super Mario Brother movie out, which I've seen, and I'll be doing a review this weekend with Matt on the regular portion of the Total Recall show. But with sort of the Mario movie out, I thought I'd talk about this comic that I did. It was a webcomic called Mystery Object. And at the time, I was sort of experimenting with the infinite vertical scroll of the webcomics format. And so this was a comic I felt really, took advantage of that format, did things with that format that you don't really see anywhere else, that you wouldn't really be able to do anywhere else. And the idea behind this, I always wanted to write a novel that would be sort of like a James Joyce style novel filled with a lot of, literary references and plays on words, and a James Joyce story of Mario, the video game character. I felt that, Mario was this character that I had known my whole life, a character whose adventures I'd followed since about as long as I could remember, going back to the Donkey Kong game and then to Donkey Kong Jr., then Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, on through to the present day. And he was this character that was, just always present in my life and always present in a lot of people's lives. It's been a few generations at this point that have grown up with Mario. And so I thought doing a really sort of highbrow novel that tells the story of Mario, because we never really got a definitive story of Mario. We got, it was something that we all had to sort of piece together. Just what story are all these games that we're playing telling us? And that, Mario seemed like a complicated guy because, he's sort of, the hero saving the day in Donkey Kong, but then in Donkey Kong 2, he kind of takes this heel turn where he's being cruel towards Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong's little son, Donkey Kong Jr., has to go rescue his father from this guy who's holding him prisoner. And then he goes on this. He switches careers, goes from being a construction worker to being a plumber with his brother Luigi, and then he gets teleported to this weird psychedelic Sid and Marty Krofft Mushroom Kingdom. So it just seemed like you could do something really amazing with that. And so that was my idea, to do it as a novel. And then at a certain point, it was like, well, wait a second. I'm not a novelist. I'm a comics person. I'm a cartoonist. I'm a graphic novelist, if anything. So why not do it as a comic, as a graphic novel? And so I did. I started working on that. And Jump Man. You get the scroll. And then you have Sperm, Aria, Ouroboros. Say those fast together. Sperm, Aria, Ouroboros. Sperm, Aria, Ouroboros. Kind of sounds like Super Mario Bros. Again, that's the kind of stuff. That's. And we have the Again, it starts as a vibe. It's kind of Kubrick or something. Kubrick or something, 2001: A Space Odyssey. And we have sort of the Catholic imagery. Again, this is my reading of Mario. I just get the sense of Mario being Catholic, maybe Italian, but not necessarily. I just met a girl, Mom. You just met a gorilla man? There's the moon, the earth, the sun. There's something. This is fun. This is the kind of stuff you can do with video, and again, exploring, webcomics as its own medium, and video versus print. And so you can do these colors that are almost beyond the visible spectrum. I don't know what would happen to this in print, but so you get this, yellow within yellow. Jump, man. And so something falls down and hits, and here's our hero, not necessarily named Mario. Again, part of the conceit is that The idea is it sort of maybe, tangentially references Mario, but it's its own thing. So that's episode 1 of Jumpman or Mystery Object or Spur Mario or Ouroboros. And so here's episode 2, picking up where it left off. Mystery Object. And he stops at the edge of an open manhole, and he teeters on the brink, loses his balance. Manhole cover looks a little like a turtle shell. He's teetering back and forth, trying not to fall in. He hears a hiss down there, sees a pair of eyes. Then he jumps, lands on that turtle shell looking manhole cover. Are you all right? Still in one piece? You big dumb gorilla, you almost killed that poor man. So we're in sort of, we're referencing, I just met a girl, Mom. So that's the end of episode 2, sign it with my name. Then we have episode 3, starts with a pack of playing cards, which that was how Nintendo got its start. As a playing card manufacturer, looking like that sort of mystery object, that block with the question mark that, could contain anything, any of life's secrets, anything your heart could desire, or a trick or a treat. And we have this sort of fire escape, then this Ouroboros snake over it. I just met a girl, Mom. And we have one of these infinite mirrors. This is modeled after my grandmother's living room. She had sort of infinite mirrors. She had a wall of mirrors and then a wall of mirrors on the other side. So, I mean, as kids, we were sort of fascinated with it, just seeing this reflection of yourself going off into infinity. You just met a gorilla man? What is that thing on your face? What's wrong with the mustache? Your father has a mustache. That's not a mustache. That's a hippie thing. I was almost in an accident. Not again. Where's the car? I mean, I'm basically drawing my grandfather there and my grandmother. Not the car, just me when I was walking. It was a near miss. Nothing bad. That's where I met the girl. Finally, a girl. You can start a family like your brothers. So are we playing cards here or what? Bros before hoes. Who dealt this mess? Whoever smelt it, dealt it. And he's got his hand of cards. Again, these are based on the designs of some of the early Nintendo playing cards, and sort of 910 do, kind of, again, plays on words, visual puns. Something is gumming up the plumbing. That's the opening lyric of the Mario Brothers commercial song for the Mario Brothers game for the Atari. Something's gumming up the plumbing. Poor Luigi's in a bind. That's where Luigi was a plumber. Mario was not. Luigi was a plumber, and he was calling, Mario, where are you? He was calling for help from Mario to come help him in this bad, plumbing emergency he's having. Can you believe Mom complaining about my stash? Well played. Again, more visual puns, well played. And all the, again, and watching the Mario movie, Mario has, he has more brothers than just Luigi. And that was a thought I had with this too, that Mario would have a lot of brothers. And they'd all kind of be, fun variations on things. And we got a Keystone Cops looking guy. We got a guy who might be the character from Root Beer Tapper. There were a lot of Mario looking guys in video games, even video games not made by Nintendo. And so it's kind of fun to imagine that some of those mustache guys might be Mario brothers that aren't Mario or Luigi. Who was just using the toilet? What's the big deal? Everybody we know has a mustache. Here's a quarter flipping through the air. The quarter, how you fuel the video game machine. Louie, you broke it. Get out your tools and fix it. Louie, possibly being Luigi. Doesn't Mom have a mustache? Mom? She's a subpar Mario mother. Again, puns, plays on words. She's a subpar Barrio mother. No, she's a superb Barrio mother. How are things at the zoo? Good and frantic, just the way I like it. So Mario's brother is the zookeeper from the video game Zookeeper, one of my favorites from back in the day. And again, has like a Mario lookalike in it. You know what? I think there's a page missing. I think there was going to be a page that says there's a girl there asking about you. There's a girl at the zoo asking about you, asking about this, quote unquote Mario character. There's a gorilla there asking about you. So again, people sort of mishearing or pretending to mishear, lines of dialogue and turning them into sort of insults. Your turn. Shut up and play. And so now this is the end, and we get Mario kind of looking at a strange reflection of himself, sort of red on red, like a red on magenta reflection of himself, which would be sort of, the Wario character, that this sort of dark reflection of the Mario character is going to come into play in the story, or would have had this thing run longer, and red being the sort of color I associate with Wario, sort of, having encountered him for the first time in the Wario game with the Nintendo Virtual Boy, where everything is in red. Basically, all the games. I saw a game reviewer say that, like Mario Tennis on the Virtual Boy, it looked like Mario and his friends playing tennis in the bowels of hell, and so it was very appropriate for the Wario game. This sort of like evil version of Mario. And so now on to the next chapter. We have a musical note in a cube, one of the motifs from Super Mario 3. We have a piano. Do, 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 do. To me, it was like the story of Mario was up for grabs. I wanted there to be a definitive story of Mario, a book, a comic, a movie, something you could, and get like the real story. The Super Mario Brothers movie from the early 90s did not do the trick. So that's what I was going to try and do here, create like a definitive narrative of Mario. And up to this point, that didn't exist. And now, as of a few days ago, there is a Super Mario Brothers movie. It does, tell a story of Mario. So this was my attempt to sort of provide that thing that was still going to take a number of years. I think I did this in like 2013, maybe 2014, and the Super Mario Brothers movie didn't come out till 2023. So I was sort of 9 years ahead. And it's interesting how like the piano plays a role in the new in the Super Mario Brothers movie. Except it's Bowser playing the piano, not Mario. Now Mario's running through a construction site. Again, we're not into the Super Mario Brothers segment yet. We haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gone. Mario has not gone on that sort of psychedelic trip yet. We're still in Donkey Kong mode. So here he is walking through a construction site, this Donkey Kong setup. Again, not too far off with some of the things that end up in the Super Mario Brothers movie. And here's his reflection in this, red pool, and this reflection in this sort of, Wario mirror world. And there's something in the sewer, something he got a glimpse of in the hole, that open manhole, and now he sort of, there's something staring up out of the grate, and now he meets a guy, sort of like a Wario-esque character. Sorry, scared the hell out of me. A Wario guy with a hammer. Mario's weapon of choice in Donkey Kong, and there's a light on up above, home of that girl that he, just saw through the window for a moment in the second episode, Pauline of Donkey Kong, and now he sort of sees her in there at night. That's as she walks past the window, and that's that. How high can you get? Which is what the Donkey Kong game would ask you, and this is kind of like one of those little flame creatures that's in the second level of Donkey Kong, except as like a marshmallow peep or possibly a hallucinogenic. Who knows? And our hero, Jumpman, takes a bite of it. And now he's feeling creative, and he's drawing. He's drawing this, this mushroom kingdom. And then we're at the end. This sort of Mario and Wario symbol, this sort of Ouroboros that comes and goes. It's using it for different things. And here's the Mario and the Wario. And now the next chapter. Here he is running through a landscape towards a castle off in the distance. My home is impossibly distant and keeps getting farther away. There is something dark and frightening behind me, an empty nothingness. I dare not, I cannot turn around. And that would be the fact that in the first Super Mario Brothers, you can't go back. You can only go forward. There's an empty nothingness behind him. And we have the sun, that evil sun that shows up. I don't trust his grin. That evil sun that shows up in Super Mario Brothers 3. And, Jumpman wakes up in his bed, and his bed has sort of a nautical theme. And yeah, I did a little bit of animated GIFs in here, again, experimenting with the form. I haven't done a, specific web comic since this. This was, I think, my last one. And I don't rule out doing one again. I just sort of, my career path just went in another direction after this. So I'm really proud of this. It's a windy day. And here's Mario at the beginning of, the sort of screen that Mario would capture, except it's a, just sort of a normal cityscape. And he's running. There's leaves flying, the same leaves that he would sort of grab to turn into the raccoon Mario. The wind's blowing. He's holding on to his hat. There's that window again. The flowers are blowing. He's turning back around. There's a trash can rolling towards him. He jumps over it, like Mario jumping over the barrels that Donkey Kong throws. Hey! And then she drops. He sort of startles her, or maybe the wind takes it out of her hand, but she drops this flower pot, and it falls down, 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 down. And Jumpman jumps out of the way, and poof, you poor dear man, meet me around back. And the curtain is sort of, the blowing in the wind is sort of draped over her head, like the sort of Mother of Christ figure that we saw in episode 1, the Maria. There's Mario and there's Maria, equivalent of Mario. And so he climbs up, she says, meet me around back. He climbs up the fire escape, jumping over the trash can and the trash can lid, climbing up like Donkey Kong. Have some coffee, and the little heart. So this is like when he gets to the top of the screen in Donkey Kong and they meet, and there's a big heart between them, and it's the steam from the coffee, and it's also her word balloon saying, have some coffee. It's a cold, windy day out there. I saw you walking by. I almost dropped a flower pot on your head. Here, have some coffee. Something tells me it's all happening at the zoo. One of my favorite Simon and Garfunkel songs. And we get, these ladders and other sort of video game landscape, maybe a little more Q*bert than Donkey Kong. But again, the vertical scroll, it becomes the bars. She likes you. There's a gorilla at the zoo that likes you. I met a gorilla mom. I met a gorilla man. It's her mothering instinct. And in the background, there's another gorilla. She's got a baby on the way. Is that the proud papa? He seems almost human. You're not the first person to notice. He keeps coming closer to the bars and then bangs his head against the bars right where Jumpman or Mario or whoever is standing. Yipe! Our unnamed protagonist. Since this is not an official Nintendo product, our unnamed protagonist, the gorilla, ostensibly Donkey Kong, is sort of laughing and flexing his arms. He's a joker. Again, the Nintendo playing card thing, and now we get a reverse of what was the beginning of this page, of this chapter. This must be your brother, and then there's a number of jobs superimposed over each other in different colors. The plumber, the construction worker, the this, the that, the draftsman. Like, what is Mario? We don't know, because Mario has a number of jobs, across all the various Nintendo video games. He's a referee, in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Mario's, a guy who wears many hats. So your brother, and then it's a million jobs. And this is the girl that's been asking about him at the zoo. There's this girl who's been asking about, your brother. Oh, how, what's he into? Oh, he seems interesting. And again, and her design is modeled after Toad, modeled after Kinopio, the mushroom person from the Super Mario games. She's one of them. by the seaside. One of my favorite Queen songs. And here's, could be Coney Island, could be Seaside Heights, could be Wildwood, but it's, like a fun little boardwalk. And we get the reflection in the water of it. Again, it's about reflections. And there they are on like a Ferris wheel. There they are riding the go-karts. And so we get a little sort of Mario Kart reference. Here's a guy in a little turtleneck outfit. All the characters. There's that dark reflection of Mario, that sort of Wario character. And here's something dropping down, and it's scoops of ice cream dropping down. They're having these from Mario Party. One of my favorite parts of the Mario Party game is where you're holding a cone and trying to catch ice cream that's dropping from the heavens onto your cone and trying to get as tall a stack as possible. So, being a little playful here. There's that umbrella that she leaves behind that becomes a prize in the second level of Donkey Kong. There's that purse that she leaves behind as a prize in the second level of Donkey Kong. And then now he's playing one of those strength games where you hit, that hammer, Mario's hammer from Donkey Kong. You hit the thing, it hits the thing. And this is sort of echoing some of the, sort of cosmic shapes that we saw in Chapter 1. If you are going to keep doing that, could you at least roll down the window? And then this is the end. This is the last chapter I worked on. Obviously, I had, there was much more to the story, much more I was going to work on, but this was where I ended and then sort of, moved on to other things. Looking back, I'm really proud of this body of work. It served its purpose. I got to experiment, try a bunch of new things. Hopefully those experiments helped me, get to, where I needed to get to, get to where I am now, But yeah, this was a really fun experiment I did. And with the Super Mario movie out, I thought this would be a good time to share this if anybody hasn't seen it. It's still available to read on Tumblr. I have an account on Tumblr called Mystery Object that I created specifically for this comic. So if I ever, do another chapter, that's where it'll end up, as well as other places. On my Patreon, which is another place you can get this story. I have it saved as a PDF there, and it might end up on Instagram too, So yeah, follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli, on Instagram at Tom_Scioli. Support my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli. And on Free Comic Book Day, May 6th, Saturday, May 6th, there's going to be a Free Comic Book Day version of I Am Stan. It'll be a comic book sized excerpt of the book covering the Marvel years. Some really interesting stuff there. And so ask your local comic book retailer to reserve a copy for you. Make sure you get one on the busiest day of a comic book store's year is Free Comic Book Day. Ask ahead to make sure you get a copy. In the show notes below, there's a pre-order link where if you follow that link, you can pre-order I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. I'm Tom Scioli, and I'll see you next time.